What can tomorrow's car already do today? Everyone's talking about digitization and self-drive cars.
We consider the fully automated or autonomous vehicle to be entirely realistic. This is all happening now. It's no longer the future.
Studies by the manufacturers promise a rosy future. But what do things look like in reality? What can tomorrow's car already do today? We're going to show you using the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class as our example. It's always stood for innovation and progress. Karl-Heinz Land, an independent expert on digitization, creates an awareness of the rapidly changing market and the urgency of digital change.
The fact is that digitization, something we're all experiencing even in our private lives, is changing the way things are being produced and the services on offer. That in turn is causing the digital transformation. And this is being called the fourth industrial revolution, which will probably have a more lasting effect on our private and business lives than in the first three revolutions since the invention of the steam engine.
The latest generation of the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, a preview for international motoring journalists, a very special moment. The evolution of intelligent motoring, that's what the Stuttgart car makers are calling this view into the future. At the preview, the international press is not only given information about drive and chassis, but invited to a hands-on experience of the special features of the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Mercedes has set up a test run especially to simulate realistically critical maneuvers. Engineer Frank-Werner Mohn explains.
Completely free, no problem. Yes, let's make a nice journey. But you see it. What do you see? Oh, sorry! Have a look, I'm on the accelerator. You see it?
Entirely new in the S-Class, we have a system that allows us to recognize very quickly and reliably any vehicles moving across the field of view. We do this with a camera and radar system, which can each recognize the other vehicle. But we use both to be quite sure we get no false positive, and we can react very quickly to avoid an accident.
We will do it a second time, but we will make a little bit different in the maneuver. You say what will happen. Let me know.
I don't know.
What will happen?
We'll crash. We will crash.
Hey, it braked, and when the car was through, the brakes went open. The car behind us was not irritated.
Of course, we've given the new S-Class the very latest in automated driving. We've raised our assist systems to a new level and tried to give the driver all the little helpers needed to make driving even safer and even more comfortable.
These little helpers include the Active Distance Assistant Distronic with the Active Steering Assistant. The two together can support the driver in numerous situations. The Active Lane Change Assistant. In the new S-Class, a light touch on the blinkers, all that's needed to change lanes. The Magic Body Control Chassis with curve function causes this bodywork to tilt by 2.65 degrees towards the inside of the bend, reducing the perceived centrifugal force on the passengers. The Avoidance Steering Assistant can support the driver when pedestrians are recognized within the car's danger zone. The Emergency Stop Assistant with tailback emergency brake function reacts in time before a traffic jam end and can prevent an imminent collision with speeds of up to 100 kilometers an hour.
Step by step and year by year, we're adding new functionality to our systems. This highly automated driving is now for the first time at a point where the driver can get on with other things. This means, of course, putting even more technology into the car in order to safely command all situations.
Other manufacturers are, of course, researching and developing similar systems on a daily basis. It is a race to digitization, to ever more complex vehicles. Audi, BMW or Toyota, and not forgetting Tesla. They're all exploring the field of autonomous driving and hope to have models on the market within a few years. This is precisely what we want to test, so we carjacked the S-Class to the Frankfurt area, one of Germany's major conurbations. We want to find out what the S-Class can do. How pleasant and comfortable is it for the driver? How does the car behave on winding roads? We get someone who knows all about it to explain it to us. Bernhard Weidemann is Daimler's press spokesman for autonomous vehicles and intelligent drive.
When we put this generation of the S-Class on the market in 2013, we introduced the Distronic distance regulator, which also included a steering assistant. It was a distance regulator supported by radar, allowing me to drive as fast as I like, but not faster than the car in front, thus automatically ensuring that I keep my distance. At the same time, as driver, I got this steering support. Another new feature in the S-Class is that we incorporate data from the sat-nav, which are very, very precise, into the driving task. If the consumer doesn't trust these mobility systems, he probably won't use them. That's why it's essential that the consumer should have confidence in the services, the products, and the companies. Then trust becomes a currency in the digital world. I think this will help us all to introduce the right steps and do the right things to make the systems really digital and safe. Here we're in the driving assistance, and it's getting better and better. It's a bit like a child learning to walk. That's just like us. We learn more and more. In particular, our algorithms keep on improving. The sensory systems are getting better too, so the system we've now got on the market is the best possible at the moment.
This is made possible by faster and faster computers and processors that are more and more powerful. Programmed machine intelligence is already monitoring and controlling our vehicles even today. Let's take a short break to look a bit more closely once more.
The S-Class has a huge number of sensors incorporated. I tried to compare it with a human body. We need our eyes, our ears, to find out what's going on around us. It's much the same with a car. We have these two cameras at the top of the windscreen, which together produce a stereo image, much like our two eyes, so that we have three-dimensional vision. But other cars and pedestrians are also recognized in interaction with the radar. That's located here in front, one of several radar sensors. That's behind here. The advantage of radar is that it's very fast. It works at the speed of light. We've taken advantage of the best of everything, the speed of light with the radar, ultrasound for the hearing, so to speak, all round the car, and of course the camera for seeing.
And the technology will get even better in the future. The keyword is LiDAR. That's a kind of radar using laser beams instead of radio waves.
LiDAR
is a system that works with laser beams, an optical system in other words. It is very exact and very fast. It has a range of well over 100 meters, directional of course, and simply provides a further sensory element which can register distances, speeds and objects around the car very exactly.
Ford see themselves as pioneers in this field. 2005, the first experimental self-drive generation. 2013, the second LiDAR generation. 2016, Ford and Lexus experiment with the latest generation of LiDAR sensors with ranges of up to 200 meters. Different scenes can be registered simultaneously. Waymo, an American company, is also working on the technical development of autonomous cars, continuing the initial tests of the Google streetcar in cooperation with Fiat Chrysler. Long-term, the focus is intended to be on service provision, for example, driverless taxis, not necessarily with driver-owned vehicles.
Who would have thought that we'd be talking about flying cars and self-driving cars, not just in 2040 or 50 in science fiction, but in 2025, 2026. If we combine DNA and digital technology, then we'll have DNA storage. And if we combine car with digital, then we have a self-drive car.
And this too is part of the digitization of mobility. At the Mercedes factory, the new S-Class is already driving itself off the assembly line, as a pilot project to start with. Sooner or later, maybe, the cars will be driving themselves to the customer's front door. One thing is certain, our cars will be fundamentally different in the future. Mercedes have taken a look into the automotive crystal ball and created the concept FO15 as a vision of the vehicle of the future. Communicative, eco-friendly and self-driving. This mobility vision will not be for sale though. And another thing, there are legal issues to be resolved. For example, who is liable if a driverless car causes an accident?
Neither we nor the insurers are ruling out the insurability of automated systems in principle. We'll have to assess the risks, of course, which is what insurers do anyway. There'll be discussions about this, but we don't see any fundamental problem.
The first trials of driverless cars in German inner cities are taking place in, for example, Düsseldorf and Berlin. Driverless cars will be negotiating traffic quite soon. The Düsseldorf experiment is due to last 25 months, and the test field is already under preparation. The trials use highly accurate digital maps and reliable communication between the vehicle and technical traffic management. In the USA, permits for autonomous driving have been around for some time. Every major car manufacturer is using the land of boundless opportunity for trial drives. One thing is clear, driverless cars are coming.
We at Mercedes have test licenses on a variety of courses worldwide. With the E-Class, we had the first series model to get a license for driverless testing in Nevada. But we also have test licenses in California and in Germany, close to our R&D locations. And not least, we're building a large testing area close to here in Immendingen, where we'll have opportunities to test every possible scenario independent of road traffic.
We'll encounter more and more of these technical features from innovative concepts on the way to the sustainable robot car. If there are concerns about these visionary technologies, they're due solely to the limited human imagination.
We're working on a fully automated or autonomous vehicle very concretely. It is, of course, the major challenge, but also the ultimate driverless experience, where mobility is made accessible to customers in a completely new fashion. We'll be there in a few years via pilot applications. We'll be seeing small fleets next year already, and we'll get going in a big way in the early 2020s.
Mega cities are one of the major trends of our age. More and more people are moving in more and more confined spaces. Sustainability here means guaranteeing traffic safety all the same. software-centered motor vehicles are developing more than ever into self-driving digital devices which can seriously improve road safety. But how will this work? And how safe and roadworthy is digitization really? The crucial question is whether car makers and IT companies can cooperate. For example, in data protection and the cybersecurity of driverless cars.
We have to think about the safety of the total system. If we don't, we're being negligent. If we don't, well, the best thing that could happen would be that as a joke, someone sends my car not to work, but somewhere else, when I should be at work. But it could get nasty if I'm doing 180 and someone takes control of my car and aims it at a concrete pillar. That would probably only happen once. Security is a core issue and one we have to concern ourselves with.
When the S-Class was introduced nearly 50 years ago, in 1972, all of this would have been inconceivable. Since then, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class has been the leader in modern automobile technology and remains so to this day. It has always brought innovations to the marketplace, which went on to become standard in other models too. The next step for the future will be the networked car. Worldwide, the automotive sector is one of the driving forces of the digital transformation. At the latest, since the internet giant Google brought out its driverless vehicle, car manufacturers have picked up the gauntlet. The connected car as an intermediate step towards the self-driving car is currently causing upheavals in the automotive sector.
We at Mercedes have the competences that these new players are bringing onto the market. And as a result of the synergies between the vehicle expertise and the software competence, we think we're in a good position.
Even today, cars have numerous driver assistance systems, but they can't yet alert the drivers to a danger lurking round a bend, for example. Car2X makes more things possible though. Here's a nice example. The virtual warning triangle. Thanks to Car2X, this can be seen much earlier than a physical triangle on the road. Through direct communication with other vehicles in the immediate vicinity, safety-relevant information can quickly be shared.
Car2X already plays a big role for us even today. Last year, we were the first manufacturer to integrate it into a production vehicle. The thing about Car2X is that the vehicle sees things that otherwise wouldn't be visible. That means Car2X is a further element towards making driving safer. Whether it's a breakdown or an accident, the driver's told about it before he can see it.
A further advantage of Car2X lies in efficiency enhancement. The continuous exchange of information between all road users allows intelligent traffic control, leading both to fuel economies and time saving. An intelligent networked system can reroute vehicles in the case of a tailback or gridlock. Car2X communication is being tested in research projects both by the automotive sector and by independent research organizations. This will allow the advantages to be tried out and improved on the basis of real-life data. But how future-proof and practical is connectivity in today's cars really?
Many people have the dream of sleeping or just sitting on the back seat when they go on a long drive. We won't be seeing that today or tomorrow. It'll take a bit of time. The next thing we'll see will be fully automated driving in towns.
A vision that may help to avert the threat of total gridlock. Driving in cities is often accompanied by jams, stop and go, or long stops at traffic lights, all of which mean more stress for the driver. But before we get to see fully automated driving in the major cities of our planet, there'll still be occasions when people get driven in special limousines on special occasions. The S-Class, the classic among chauffeur-driven vehicles, is one such eye-catcher. People notice it. We've invited a pro to take the driver's seat. Michael Trux has been a chauffeur for a good 30 years. What he likes about the S-Class is the innovative technology and the unconditional emphasis on passenger comfort.
It offers all the things a passenger expects. In the long version in particular, plenty of legroom in the back seats, and generally a comfortable ride. And of course, it makes an impression on the outside too.
Michael Trux has driven high-ranking politicians such as Henry Kissinger and Mikhail Gorbachev, not to mention VIP actors and sports stars. But his bread and butter in Frankfurt consists rather of prominent bankers. He doesn't yet see autonomous driving as an immediate threat to his line of business.
There are a few assistance systems in the cars already, of course, but really autonomous or even partly autonomous driving, that's still way in the future. In the long term, those occupations where the driver is associated directly with the car may be faced by a certain danger if the driver is replaced by a robot. I don't see that as a serious problem for our trade at the moment, but in some sectors, they probably ought to be thinking about what the future holds.
Back to the testing ground, here's an experimental setup reflecting a daily situation in real life, the end of a traffic queue.
A quite new feature in the S-Class is this emergency braking system it can recognize on the motorway when all the lanes are at a standstill. Maybe the driver's attention has been distracted and he hasn't seen it. The system warns him and performs an emergency stop. This system makes a crucial difference to the prevention of rear-end shunts, especially where traffic is queuing.
Frank-Werner Mohn can explain this situation very well too.
Tell me, what will happen? Will we crash? It is a soft crash target.
Crash.
Braking!
Braking.
And full
Okay.
Hey!
A little bit scary, really, but everything is okay. It's a very safe experience. It's fantastic and very amazing technique.
And this too is part of the digitization of mobility, the crash test. Mercedes-Benz are working on reconstructing accidents even more realistically, if possible. The aim is to prevent accidents or at least reduce their severity by deploying assistance systems. In the age of intelligent assistance systems and from the perspective of autonomous driving, passive safety, that is to say, mitigating the consequences of an accident for those in the car, is a central task of vehicle development. In just 5 years' time, it's thought we'll be seeing self-driving cars on public roads, especially in our big cities. This is how an autonomous city car could look in 2013, as shown by the Daimler study with the Smart Vision EQ42. The self-driving car can be summoned by smartphone and is thus a potential rival for taxi companies and apps like Uber. It's the first Daimler to dispense with paddles and steering wheel completely. So how close are we really to autonomous driving?
40 or 50 years ago, a car was a piece of mechanical engineering. The value creation came 100% from brakes, clutch, engine, gearbox, etc. And now the car is driving itself. So we have the autonomous car. So probably 70 or 60% of the value creation lies in software. In other words, the software is accounting for more and more of the value. Every business must be aware of this. They have to adapt or die. Survival of the fittest, as Charles Darwin said. The best will survive and the others will go extinct.
So could the digitization of the automobile lead to a transfer of power from human to computer? No final answer can yet be given to this question. But everyone in the business is clear about one thing. When the first self-driving cars appear in our cities, they will have to share the road space with conventional cars with no automated functions. Even so, In the forges where digital ideas are being hammered out, tomorrow's mobility is being developed. It will take greater account of cooperation between all road users and make even today's driving safer, more comfortable and more efficient.